Hi, this is Tim from fititmidlife.com, and today I've got the Nike Metcon SF. This is a brand new Metcon shoe from Nike. It is the first all-terrain Metcon shoe. What does that mean? I'm going to tell you all about it, so stick around. Okay, so let's talk about the Nike Metcon SF. So the first thing you can't miss on these is the deep boot-like tread. These have a outsole tread unlike that of any other Metcon shoe. You can see it is very deep and it is widely spaced lugs. It is labeled anti-clog traction. The idea being that these are mud run shoes and that this tread will not get clogged up with mud. So this is very firm, deep lugs. You can also see they've got the rope wrap, the wraparound outsole area, just like most of the other Metcon shoes have. And this is kind of like a boot. It is a very boot-like tread. And that is the biggest differentiating factor for these shoes. But there's more. These are really meant for water immersion. And so what that means, you'll notice they've got a sock-like opening here. This is elastic. This is a very tight fit around your ankle. This is called a gaiter. It's up high. It keeps debris from getting in your shoes when you're in the mud, when you're in the swamp, when you have to step into a stream. This will prevent debris from getting in the shoe. But even more than that, these are made for water immersion. So you can see in the bottom here, there are water drain ports. There are 3 per side. And if you look through those just right, you can kind of see daylight through there. There's sort of a channel from inside the compartment of the shoe. And what happens is when these fill up with water, you step out of the water. With every step you take, the water gets ejected through the drain ports. It gets pumped out. This actually works quite well. I'll include a videotape of some pool testing that I did. And so with an all-terrain, deep boot-like tread, water immersion capability, that is what makes these an excellent obstacle course race and mud run shoe. These also dry very quickly. So they're made with materials that just will not absorb water. And even the thin drop-in midsole will not really absorb any water. It'll absorb a little bit, but it dries pretty quick. So you can see the drop-in midsole is very, very minimalistic. And again, they're made to get wet, but they're made to dry out quickly, and they're made to not tear up your feet with blisters and other problems when your feet are getting waterlogged. So shoes are now fully submerged, fully immersed. Let's take a step out. And you can see every time I step down, press down, the water is being pumped out of the drain ports on either side of the shoe. Actually seems like it works quite well. So this is the gaiter. Keep debris, sticks, pebbles, rocks, whatever out. It's a pretty tight fit. I have skinny ankles, still a tight fit. It's actually kind of hard to put the shoe on, but it's there for a reason, to keep the debris out. And would be quite useful in that regard. I do not have the speed laces tucked into the protective pocket there. That's what that is. Overall, I would say it works as advertised. So let's talk a little bit about how the Nike Metcon SF compares to the Nike Metcon Sport. The Metcon SF has a much deeper tread than the Metcon Sport. The Metcon Sport has a tread that is more aggressive than the tread on most of the Metcon shoes, but it does not compare to that on the SF. It just is nowhere near as deep, although this does work a little bit better in the outdoors, in the grass and the turf, compared to, say, like a Nike Metcon 5. The Metcon Sport is also not made for water immersion. There's no special features in that regard. It does have the quick adjusting Velcro strap, sort of a slip fit that you accommodate putting these on and off with the pull tabs, which is similar to what's done on the SF. So we have the pull tabs and we kind of have the high top. This is a very tight slip fit sort of shoe, but we also have the speed lacing system as well. So there's really 2 benefits to this. Again, this is a shoe meant for mud, swamp, water immersion. The having no traditional laces means there's nothing to get waterlogged and gunked up with mud and dirt, but also the speed lacing is very easy, quick and easy to adjust. And so you've got a way to adjust the shoe on the fly quite easily without a mess. That's one of the standout features here. Beyond that, the SF is a very minimally cushioned shoe like most of the Metcon line are. I don't know that I would recommend these for indoor use with this tread and the minimal amount of cushioning. They're really purpose designed for outdoor trail runs, mud runs, obstacle course races. Might be great at the beach, might be great on a fishing trip, or anywhere else, kayaking, where your feet are going to get wet and you want to be able to eject that water. These would actually be really good shoes for kayaking, actually. And so that's the SF compared to the Metcon Sport. Now you might be wondering, which is the heavier shoe? Is it the boot-like one or the more athletic shoe-like one? Surprisingly, it's actually the SF is lighter. So this men's size 11.5 weighs 13 ounces. This Metcon Sport 11 weighs 13.8 ounces. So there's actually quite a bit of difference. Can actually feel the difference. The Metcon SF is very light for what it is, and that's surprising. Now let's compare the Metcon SF to the Metcon 5. If you've watched the rest of this review, you know these are two very different shoes. I'll simply do this comparison so you can kind of get an idea of the size and the weight difference between the two shoes. So the Metcon 5, of course, is a traditional Metcon shoe. It's got laces, it's got a regular indoor gym tread, it's got the Metcon rope wrap, and it actually has quite a bit of cushioning, especially compared to past versions of the Metcon. And that's perhaps one of the differences with this shoe and the SF. The SF has a more minimalistic flair to it. The drop-in midsole is very bare bones compared to the very deep dual density midsole that is in the Metcon 5. So you can see that here. So there's two different areas. This up front is very cushiony. In the back, not so much. The heel is very stable for solid weightlifting support. And, obviously the tread on the Metcon 5 can't hold a candle to the boot-like tread on the SF. But again, just for a general size comparison, you can see they're about the same size. It's really the tread's taller on the SF, and also it's got that elasticized gaiter up top to keep debris out of the shoe. That's what makes a difference. Otherwise, they're not really too far off the mark. This is lighter. This is, again, 13 ounces for men's size 11.5. This is a men's size 11.5. This weighs in at 13.6 ounces, the Metcon 5. So the SF is actually the lighter shoe, despite that heavy boot-like tread on it. And so that's our review. The Nike Metcon SF is the first all-terrain Metcon shoe. They've incorporated a lot of the principles of the Metcon line, but they've also added new features that you don't have in the other shoes, namely the deep boot-like tread, the purpose-designed water draining ports for immersion, and other features like that really make these a different shoe than the rest of the Metcon line. This would be your choice for mud runs, obstacle course races, and other things where you know your feet are going to be wet. If you like this sort of shoe review, check our channel. We have many more, and we will have more coming. Also, link to our full review in the description. Thank you. Have a good day.